So this video is going to be about Joe Rogan believing in way too many wild conspiracy theories. That's kind of his spiel. He believes in a lot of interesting things. Uh, he had someone on talking about how hieroglyphics can heal you. Um, at the end of the day, I don't know whether I believe in aliens or not. The galaxy is infinite. Is it possible there is life outside of Earth? Definitely possible, in my opinion. But that's kind of Joe Rogan's thing. I don't know if Joe Rogan believes in a lot of things. I mean, he definitely questions a lot of people. He questions everyone on his show. So I happen to be a big fan of his, like millions of other people. I think he has a great channel, and I commend him for not dying on hills. He's often very fluid in his beliefs. He's willing to challenge his own beliefs just as much as he's willing to challenge others. So I'm not as critical of him as maybe Ben is, because I think we need more Joes. I think we need more people who are willing to consider everything. Now, do I think certain things are silly? I mean, I guess everyone does, right? So I want to. This is why I want you guys to listen for yourselves. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Follow me at Rafi the Realtor for all of your real estate needs in South Florida, and you can support the channel via the Buy Me a Coffee link in the pinned comment or description. Let's get into it.
As I say, yesterday, Joe Rogan dropped the bombshell that he is starting to believe Candace Owens' theories about Charlie Kirk's assassination. Here's what he had to say.
Wasn't that guy a furry?
No, he loved a furry.
Oh, he loved a furry. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'm not even sure if that's true.
All right.
The more time goes on, the more I'm leaning towards Candace Owens. Whatever the spin is about Tyler Robinson, there's some bullshit to it. I don't know how much of it is bullshit, but there's some bullshit.
Okay, listen, I know. I like Joe personally. He's a nice guy. Also, this kind of stupidity ought to immediately make you question Joe's capacity to discern truth from fiction. Because, dude, come on. This is the equivalent of essentially endorsing the theory that staring at hieroglyphics can solve your health problems, which Joe also kind of did recently.
So hieroglyphs actually carry the information in the form. And so the form of those shapes, now some of the greatest minds on the earth are starting to recognize that if you draw one of those shapes and show it to a human mind, it creates an incredible medical response. You can reverse inflammation, all kinds of things by looking at the shape, because the shape is creating a waveform.
Wait a minute, looking at the shape of certain hieroglyphs?
Yeah, the shapes that are in Egyptian hieroglyphs are now being used to really change human biology. We're realizing it was not a symbolic representation of something; it was a full transmission of information.
Is there papers written on this?
So Ibrahim is one of the greatest minds out there. He's out of Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, and he's in his 80s now. And I'm going to connect you with him because you'd love to have him on this show. But he has been hired by large, groups, and now Switzerland has hired him now to recode their 5G network with these shapes to improve biology and life around the 5G network.
Now, I'm not super shocked by this kind of stuff. Joe tends to believe pretty much every conspiracy theory that he can find. Because, let's be real, conspiracism is fun. Like, it's super fun. It's chatty. You can fill 5 hours talking with your comedian friends about how the moon landing was fake and underwater demons who might be aliens control our lives. I get the shtick, right? Joe's shtick is that he is basically caveman discovering the world by talking with all the people. This never results in any firmly held belief, so he'll endorse James Tallarico, the psychotic left-wing howdy-doody of Texas, and Donald Trump within 2 years of each other. But listen, it's fun to watch the journey. It's just sitting with your friends in college and popping open a beer, or in Joe's case, smoking a blunt, and waxing philosophic on whether your chair really exists, man, or whether when you see the color red and I see the color red, is it the same color red, bro? Or which Kardashian sister is the hottest? It's like bullshit the bros. That's what the show is. And under normal circumstances, that's fine and fun and whatever. It's a free country. You can listen to what you want. There are two things that make this kind of stuff a problem for America more generally. One, when people start treating this stuff seriously. And two, when politicians start treating this stuff seriously because people start treating this stuff seriously. So listen, part and parcel of Joe's comedic world is blackpilling. This is, by the way, it's very common in comedy because comedy is about making fun of the world as it is. It's not about offering solutions. It's not about trying to come to a consensus. Comedy is about making fun of the world as it is. Comedy is inherently sort of black-pilled. You can't trust any of the systems, my bro. Those systems are out to get you, dude. Bro, have you seen how corrupt this is? Weird. Wild. Now, there are basically three perspectives on the system, or any systems, like banking, or the judiciary, or the electoral system, or the legacy media, or the universities, or our economy, or whatever. Perspective one, every system is thoroughly corrupt. You can trust none of the systems. They are all corrupt, all of them. Trust nothing. Perspective two, all the systems are great. They're all pristine. We should trust everything that they churn out. And then there's perspective three. Some of the systems work basically okay. Other systems suck. The ones that don't work properly can sometimes be course corrected, and sometimes those systems need to be torn down to the studs. Now, as you might guess from my characterization here, I think that perspectives 1 and 2 are ridiculous. I also think that pretty much nobody actually believes them. I think they play well in podcast land because conspiracism is fun and profitable. So, this is how you end up with a lot of podcasters who promote mutually exclusive propositions. Like, for example, that the government is directed toward corruption, which is largely true. And also that the government should run every aspect of our healthcare system and it'll be great and not corrupt, which, again, is not meshing with that first proposition. But also the government doesn't have the power to regulate the internet, so we're all doomed to failure, which is like sort of kind of half true. All of which Joe said yesterday with all of his friends on the show literally yesterday. So, for example, Joe Rogan said that Donald Trump has made billions in crypto. This is true. I'm highly critical of this. I think it's corrupt. I think it's a huge problem. I've been calling it out since literally the first week of the administration. So what Joe says here is true.
This government has done some that no government has ever done before. And one of them is the crypto stuff. The crypto stuff's nuts.
What?
Like, Trump has made billions in crypto.
Yeah,
like,
it's a bad look.
Government's so crooked.
And then you got his sons, and his sons are involved in all these weird business deals where the business deals have to do with some things that Trump put, and then the sons are involved in these businesses. And like, there's a lot of money flowing around that you could dig in and start arresting people.
Okay, so I totally agree, actually, with a lot of what he's saying there, because it turns out that a government that is gigantic and prone to corruption does bad things. But then on the same show, he'll turn around with Shane Gillis and they'll talk about how free healthcare isn't communism. In fact, you know what communism isn't? When we treat the whole country like a community, which, I mean, there is a reason that communism and community have the same linguistic root. Not because community is bad or something, but because the entire premise of communism is that as a member of a community, your individuality disappears and the community now gets to dictate what to do with your goods, products, services, and life. Here they are explaining things that, again, are self-contradictory, but here we go.
Communism's the gayest ever.
It's the worst.
Somebody needs to look into how gay communism is.
But isn't it crazy that it's making a comeback?
Yeah.
It always does. It's a cycle. There's a cycle.
The problem is if we cannot call it communism if we get free healthcare.
Right.
That would be a good move.
That would help a lot.
We're calling everybody
Yeah,
communist
you're
that wants free
socialist,
healthcare.
communist, and you're like,
free
just-
healthcare is cool.
Yeah.
We should have that.
It's normal.
Yeah.
That's not communism.
We should have
Communism is
healthcare
no
and
private
education.
property.
Yeah.
You should treat the entire country like it's a community. If you
Yeah.
have a community, would you want the sickest person to die who could be very valuable if you could like take care of them? And do you have the resources to take care of
Of
them?
course you should. We're
Take
a rich
care of
country.
Communism is terrible and gay. Also, we should treat our entire body politic like a community, and maybe that should be dictated by the thesis from each ability according to his ability to each according to his need. Okay, now again, I'm not really going to blame Joe for any of this sort of stuff. One of the things that makes Joe such a successful podcaster is that he is kind of, sort of, a tribune for the people, meaning that he contains multitudes, including a variety of totally conflicting viewpoints, right? I don't think Joe himself would say that he has some sort of thoroughgoing theory of politics or a thoroughgoing worldview. Again, his politics are a journey, and they move all over the place. And the general shtick of the show, again, is sort of caveman explores world by talking to humans. Okay, fine. There's only a couple of problems that come up with this. One is there are a bunch of young men who use Joe Rogan as a sort of political litmus test, which is pretty weird. Or as Joe might say, wild, right? Joe himself would probably argue that you shouldn't follow him that way because Joe himself would say that he's not fully formed on much of this stuff at all. But people do that anyway. Again, that's not Joe's fault. It's just a reality. You know, it turns out that young men will follow pretty much anybody.
All right, so this wraps up today's video. Let us know what you think in the comments. Do you think Joe is too conspiratorial? Do you think he has a level-headed attitude towards different ideas? Share your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Follow me at Rafi the Realtor for all of your real estate needs in South Florida. And you can support the channel via the Buy Me a Coffee link in the pinned comment or description. Thank you as always for your support. Until next time, peace.